Welcome. The Fox Performing Arts Charitable Foundation was founded to promote, foster, and encourage young people in the St. Louis area to discover and participate in the wonder and joy of live performance. We have several programs. One of our very favorites is the educational Encore. After a show at the Fox, you can stay. You can meet the cast, the crew, sometimes even the creative team, and you can ask the questions that you want to know about. It's a wonderful, interactive process that we're very proud to promote. This year, while the Fox is on intermission during the COVID-19, many people around the country are doing virtual shows. I was very fortunate 30 years ago to be asked to come out and stage manage the original Cats tour. It was a very special show for me. I met my husband on that tour and many of my lifelong friends. They're a special group of talented, happy people. Tony Award winners, Grammy Award winners, Emmy Award winners. It was a special group. They decided to get together 34 years later to raise money. Broadway Cares is a wonderful organization, and they help with the money for the Actors Fund. The Actors Fund is giving out money for COVID-19. They decided to do this wonderful benefit titled With Love, Now and Forever, CATS4COVID Relief. We decided, why not do an educational encore? We got together with some of the cast members and the director. A wonderful chance to take a peek behind the curtain of this virtual benefit. Some of our winners from one of our other programs, the St. Louis Teen Talent Competition, decided they had some questions. So they are joining the cast and crew to find out the things that they wanted to find out. I think you'll enjoy. Listen in. Hi, I want to welcome now Lisa Dawn Cave and also Kelsey Carnes, who's here in St. Louis. Lisa Dawn was a beautiful dancer with impeccable technique and gorgeous lines. She was so talented as a dancer and so smart and sharp that she's actually moved and kept a career in the theater, even though she has moved on from dancing to other roles. So we'll learn more about that in a second. And someone that made me really think of Lisa Dawn was Miss Kelsey Carnes. She was our second place winner for the St. Louis Teen Talent Competition for the self-choreographed piece that included contemporary work and aerial work, gymnastics. She's just so well-versed in the placement and the lines and the levels and the turns and just a crackerjack dancer. She's got a huge career in front of her and just lovely to work with and a pleasure to get the two of you together. I'm just so excited. And I know that Kelsey probably has some questions for Miss Lisa.
Again, I'm so sorry about the music, but Lisa, can you share your, sorry, I'm so embarrassed. Can you share your background in theater and dance with me?
Yes. I started out as a performer. I went to high school of performing arts as a dance major. Then I went to SUNY Purchase dance major and received my BFA in dance. And then I worked professionally for 10 years as a dancer-singer. I did a lot of national tours. I did one Broadway show. Actually, it was Cats. I actually did the national first, and then after I finished the national, I came in and I did Broadway for almost 2 years. So dancing, my love, my first love, I'll never say it isn't, it's my first love, something I've always wanted to do. And when I was on the road with another show after, Cats, and I went back out and did a couple of more shows, I realized that unfortunately the dance part of the business is the one that has the shortest life, so instead of it hitting me in the back of the head too late and me not having a plan, I said, you know, what am I going to do when my body does say, you know, you're not going to be able to do this, you know, at this level anymore. And I knew I did not want to leave the business. You know, I was like, what else can I do to stay in the business? And stage management popped, you know, and basically because, you know, when you travel on the road, a lot of you are together a lot. You know, you hang out with the crew, you hang out with the backstage people more. And so that's when I looked to, I was like, wait a minute, stage management, is that something that I can look into? Is that something that I could do? So basically that's what I started pursuing. I started asking questions to people that were my stage managers, you know, about what they did, how they started, you know, and, you know, can I trail you? Can I see what you do? So that's how the, you know, the light came on for me, that's the route I want to, you know, go towards. And I just kept pursuing it. And I had really good, you know, like I said, friends that were stage managers that pulled me in and said, I'm going to show you what you want to know. And so all my training as a stage manager, which is a little different from my dance I had training. But as a stage manager, I had hands-on training. You know, I had no schooling for it. So I had to learn on the spot and just by doing. But I had some really good mentors that helped me along the way. So.
And tell us some of the wonderful shows that you've stage managed.
Oh, well, I've been stage managing for over 25 years. So there are quite a few. But some highlights, of course, right now I'm the production supervisor for Disney's Frozen. Smokey Joe's Cafe, revival of Showboat, revival of West Side Story. I did Fun Home. That's to name a few, but it's quite a long list. Thank goodness that I've had a really, really good, successful career as a stage manager.
So what inspires you as an artist to participate in benefits and give back to the community like you've been doing?
I have to say, I grew up in a very underserved community. And the arts was my dream and my fantasy and my other world to get out of the world, unfortunately, that I was growing up in. So, and it also took me out of just being in one place. You know, there are a lot of people that never leave their neighborhood ever in life. And there are not people that never leave, you know, the city, you know, and I think that was a real eye-opener for me when I was able to go on the road and actually see the United States, you know, like, wow, there was actually fields out there, a lot of space, you know. So I always said to myself that if I get to a point where I can give back, and even if, you know, helping to raise money or just making awareness out there, I was going to do it. And that's what pushes me, because there are some folks that can't do it on their own and they're going to need some help, and I want to be able to help.
Well, tell us a little bit about what you've done for this particular benefit that we're talking about now, the With Love Now and Forever Cats for COVID Relief.
Well, this is actually something great and special, because when I got the call that we were going to get together, first of all, it was like, wow, because we haven't seen each other, you know, in over 30 years. Just remembering back, you know, when we all decided to do the Michael Bennett benefit, which started this whole idea, because we were on the road with Cats, we were like, you know, what was going on with the AIDS pandemic, and what are we going to do? You know, what can we help? How can we give back? And we all got together and said, let's put on a benefit, you know, and that's where I actually, believe it or not, that's where I had a little touch of stage management, just because, and that was way back before I even thought that this was something I would want to do. I was like, you know what, let me try, you know, let me help out with this and let me help out with that, you know. But it is, I'm so happy we've gotten together to do this. It's really pulled us all together and close to our hearts, and to be able to do this for the Actors Fund, who is out there to support every realm of theater, not just the actors.
That's great. Looks like Dembari's joining us now. Dembari won $8,000 in our Teen Talent by doing a self-choreographed hip-hop number. Hey, hi, Dembari. So I'll bet that Dembari would like to ask you for some career advice.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I gotta know. Like when okay, so for somebody just starting, Like, where exactly would I start? Like, if I wanted to be in that career.
Right. Well, I have to say, both of you being in high school, I always try to tell people, don't let somebody tell you it's too late to start. Because, you know, when I started, I started in 9th grade. That's when I first started getting my training as a dancer. Before that, I was in, like, you know, community theater where I was doing African dance and street dance, you know, when I got my actual training is 14 years old. And if I would have listened to people that said, no, you should have started when you were 7, you know, this is not going to happen for you, then I wouldn't have gotten to where I was. But I was like, no, you know, I'm going to go for it. And I was, thank goodness, I had blessed enough to have some teachers that saw something inside me that they said was special. I got into the High School of Performing Arts, and that's where I started getting training, where I started getting ballet, I started getting modern, you know, I started getting tap. They had some acting classes, you know, that's when I started the actual training to do that. My advice is usually, you know, if it's something you want, you go for it. Don't let anyone discourage you from doing that. Try to look at as many genre of dance that there are out there. Even if you only wanted to be concentrated on one, look at others so you can see where that's coming from also, because it'll just widen your perspective.
All right. Well, Kelsey?
I don't think I have any other questions for you, but I am going to need all the viewers right now to check the website, www.foxpacf.org, for links to the benefit.
Well, now we're going to have to say goodbye. So I'll say bye, Lisa. Thank you so much.
And I'll say bye, Dimbari.
Bye, Kelsey.
Bye, Judith.
Bye, Dimbari.
Bye.
Well, now I have with us Jill Begounder and Lexi Antalik. These are two of my favorite performers out in the world from two different parts of my life that I'm just very excited to introduce to each other. Now, you know, 30 plus years ago, I was so impressed with Jill, and just last year I met Lexi, and Lexi did a piece for the St. Louis Teen Talent Competition. She did such an awesome work. And she reminded me so much of Jill because she's this tiny, petite dancer with a beautiful technique. You just get goosebumps watching her work. And if you're in the Fox Theater with 4,500 seats and you're getting goosebumps, that's a strong performance. And now Jill has had this wonderful long career, and Lexi's just starting out. So I know Lexi has some questions for Jill.
So, Jill, what is your background in the performing arts? What did you do after you got done touring and dancing? Did you teach it? Did you continue with it? Like, what was your route afterwards?
Well, actually, the route started before. I started out as a dance teacher. And I discovered that 3-year-olds in tap shoes were not my thing. So I went to Ohio to audition for a summer stock company and was hired that season because I was little, I was told I was never going to make it in this business because I was too little. Well, yeah, if you want to be a rockette, I'm too little. I'm 5'2". But someone small was needed for that particular show, and that trend continued when I moved out here to LA. There was a audition for Evita. As the 2-year-long run here in LA was coming to an end, they were trying to phase out the children because that means they had to carry a tutor. So as one of the children either aged out or quit, they would replace them with small adults. So the fact that I was small actually worked in my favor getting into this business. Went from that to working wardrobe locally here in LA. I have a multitude of friends in various places, and every once in a while I go, hey, do you think I can do that? And they go, sure, come on, let's give it a try. I wish I could tell you there was this formal education from where I came from, but it was totally where I was, who I knew, and if I said yes to whatever they wanted me to do. You know, for 5 careers in this business, I I guess you just can't hit a moving target. That's all.
Well, I want to thank you both very much for joining in on our educational encore. I'm sure that people that are viewing this had similar questions. So thank you, Lexi, and thank you, Jill B. Bye, Lexi.
Bye.
All right. And I'm very lucky to have one of my favorite cats here, Austin Chatong. And I'm very excited that he's here, especially because this year we had the beautiful Aubrey Bug who came and competed in our Teen Talent competition. And congratulations, Aubrey. She won the Kranzberg Vocal Performance Award and a cash prize. She accompanied herself on the piano and she sang beautifully. And when I heard Aubrey the first time, she made me think of Austin. She has that same beautiful way with lyrics that's so unique and personal to her. And I'm just inspired to get the two of you together. And I would expect that Aubrey might have some questions for Austin.
So what brought you here? Like, what's your background as a performer?
Okay, my background as a performer. Actually, when I was in college, I did not go to college to be a singer. I went to Catawba College, and my counselor was the head of the music department. I played trumpet, and I was a physical therapy major and hated it. And as we were in band practice and I was putting my instrument away, I was always singing under my breath. He goes, I think you need to be a voice major. And I said, is it hard? He says, what isn't hard? So anyway, I changed my major. And then he would talk to me about my feelings of when I started to sing. You know, what does this song mean to you? You know, you really need to dissect it. You need to read the lyrics, and you need to digest it, and then convey it the way that you feel. He goes, and each time you sing this song, it may be different. Well, to make a long story short, as the years went on, there was a theme park in North Carolina, where I grew up, called Carowinds. And as Judy said, I also danced when I was much younger. So did well in that, graduated. And then I decided, well, you know, I was going to be a teacher, but, you know, why not just go to New York and see what happens. And I think back, I'm like, how did I do it? But it's that perseverance of wanting. So I auditioned and auditioned, and with this operatic voice that I had, I auditioned for a group called the Platters. And I knew who they were, but I thought, well, this is really not the real Platters, but I went anyway. They seemed to like me, I don't know. Well, 2 days later, they called and said that they would like me to be one of the Platters. So anyway, that sort of led to me continuing in New York and doing other things, which I can tell you a little bit more about that later.
The benefit that we're doing is the original Cats tour coming back and reuniting. Because they have this history of doing benefits, they felt moved and called to get together to help with COVID relief. And BroadwayCares.org/Cats benefit is where the benefit film will be shown at 7 p.m. Central Time, because we're in Central Time, on October 23rd, and it'll run 4 days. But going back, we really love to get out of ourselves and our art and be sure that we help the communities that we're in. Now, Aubrey, I know you probably already do this with school and raising money, because I know you sing out in Illinois. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I perform very often at Uncle Lenny's Food and Brews in Granite City, Illinois. It's a great way to give back to the community, you know, especially during as trying times as these. People can just gather, safely socially distanced and enjoy music, which is something that I haven't done since this whole thing started, well, except for the teen talent competition.
I want to thank you both for getting a chance to meet each other, and it's just been a pleasure to work with both of you.
And Aubrey, so nice to meet you. I would love to follow your career, through Judy. Stay in contact and let me know what's going on. And and I applaud you. Keep the business going. Entertainment rules.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you both for this opportunity. It really it helped me affirm some of my beliefs about the performance industry, and I really did enjoy this conversation.
Thank you, Judy. Bye, Aubrey.
Bye, Austin. Bye, Judy.
Well, I'm very, very fortunate because I have a chance to talk to two directors, because we are fortunate enough that the foundation does many programs with our resident director, Tony Parisi. And we are very pleased to help get the word out about the wonderful benefit called With Love, Now and Forever, CATS4COVID Relief, directed by Jonathan Stewart Cerullo. Both Tony and Jonathan have worked on Broadway, off-Broadway, national tours, international tours, film, TV, parades, circuses. I mean, the list just goes on and on. So, Jonathan, what are your favorite Broadway shows that you know?
Sure, I was fortunate enough to, after I did Cats, actually, I left that show with 1 week's vacation to work with the wonderful Peter Allen in a musical called Legs Diamond. And that was truly a magnificent experience that I had with that company, which we're all still very good and very close friends today.
Tony, give us some highlights of your wonderful career.
Well, I'll do the first part of my career. Fast forward, as a youngster here in St. Louis, I took ballet, tap, jazz, acrobatics, baton, karate. I mean, you name it. I took all those classes. So, and I was always interested in musical theater. But what got me to New York was a full scholarship to New York City Ballet when George Balanchine was still teaching classes. So I took from George Balanchine at New York City Ballet, and in our men's class was Baryshnikov and Peter Martins. But there was no joy there. And so I left. And a couple of months later, I was on tour in the national tour of A Chorus Line, which was the first national tour. I was with that for a year. And I said, hey, I didn't go to New York to be on tour. I went to New York to be on Broadway. So I quit that, moved back to New York. And a couple of months later, I was in the original production of 42nd Street, directed by Gower Champion. I was on stage the famous night of opening night, where David Merrick, our producer, announced that Gower had died that afternoon and catapulted us into history. And so I feel like I was a huge part of the history of Broadway because of my connection with 42nd Street. And this is what everybody should understand. Jonathan and I go way back. We've crossed paths for many, many, many years, but you just have to always keep your reputation up, because I got my third Broadway show from the stage manager of 42nd Street, who was then the stage manager of City of Angels. And I just was at the theater giving somebody a tap lesson between shows, and Steve came on stage to see what was going on. And he said, Tony, what are you doing here? And he said, do you want a job?
Steve Zweigbaum? Was that Steve
Zweigbaum? I said, yeah.
He gave me my first job too.
Wow.
Isn't that funny?
So that was Wednesday between shows. I started rehearsal Thursday, and I was on stage in City of Angels on the Saturday evening performance.
Oh my God, Tony. Steve Zweigbaum offered me my first job as assistant to Joe Layton on the Three Musketeers
You
on
see,
Broadway,
you never
and the
know. So this is a lesson.
exactly the very first question he asked me, and anyone who's listening to this should know that he said to me, "Well, we're at the Broadway Theater right over here on." He says, "Well, why do you want to do this?" And I said to him so quickly, "Probably for the same reasons you want to do this." That was the entire interview. I got home and he says, "You're ready to join the family as Joe Layton's assistant on this." So yeah, wow.
That's great. So we
Yeah.
have even more in common than we even thought.
Oh, I'm sure we do.
And that's what theater's all about. It's all about families that stay connected even through the years. Yeah, to connect us up further, Jonathan and I, he's going to talk about Broadway Cares Equity Fights AIDS in a minute. Way back in the day, there was the Easter bonnet competition on Broadway, which is a famous thing. I think it's still happening today, is it not?
Big time.
Yeah, big time. Well, I did the 10th anniversary, the 10th anniversary opening number.
Yeah.
I choreographed it for all the Broadway shows that participated that particular year. Of course, it's now much further along than 10 years. That was a while ago. But that organization is who's sponsoring and hosting and who's affiliated with what Jonathan's going to do. So Jonathan, tell us more about what you're doing.
So Broadway Cares Equity Fights AIDS is the national foundation that was created out of necessity, and when Judith and I did CATS back in 1986, 87, 85, 86, 87, right around there was this virus out there called HIV/AIDS, and the theater community was impacted tremendously because of this. And I remember so clearly, like it was yesterday. We had already been out on the road for about 9 months with CATS, and I had gone, we had, just before the show, there was a news broadcast that announced the passing of the legendary director choreographer Michael Bennett, who was the creator of a chorus line that Tony spoke about earlier, conceived, directed, and choreographed by. And that hit me like a ton of bricks. And I went back to the theater that night, and I said to the cast, the men's dressing room, I said, "I don't know about you, but I just can't sit around anymore. We've got to figure something out here. We've got to do something to help." This was 4 years before Broadway Cares Equity Fights AIDS was even a foundation. So the CATS company created a tribute to Michael Bennett called A Singular Sensation, a tribute to Michael Bennett. The general managers of CATS caught wind of this, came down to see us in St. Louis, saw the show and said, "You guys have something here. We're going to tell you that you should continue to do this throughout the rest of the tour." And that sort of set us on motion. It was just a mom and pop, Judy and Mickey, let's put a show on in a barn. And we went into every hotel, ballroom that we did. We eventually got so sort of big that we started to get celebrities to join us. And one year we had Lily Tomlin, and the other, another show we had Jennifer Holliday. So it became sort of a big thing. But Broadway Cares Equity Fights AIDS was not a foundation at that point in time. Flash forward, I get a phone call from one of those cast members, Austin Chatong, who you just spoke about, and I think he participated in this series. Called me up and he said, "Jonathan, do you remember when we did the Michael Bennett?" And I said, "Yeah, of course I do. I directed it." He goes, "Well, what do you think?" And I said, "Yes." And he goes, don't you want me to finish?" When I say, "Whatever you're going to say, the answer is yes. But here's the caveat. We have got to do this as a fundraiser for the Actors Fund." So the Actors Fund is an organization that has been around for over a century, actually. And Broadway Cares Equity Fights AIDS is the main supporter of the Actors Fund. So our benefit that we're putting together for the COVID-19 Emergency Relief Fund is being handled and administered through Broadway Cares for the Actors Fund. Anyone who works in the entertainment industry, front of house, backstage, whatever you do, you are able to make use of the funds that the Actors Fund has available, whether it be, health insurance, housing, counseling, whatever it might be. By June, we normally give out $2 million each year. By June of this year, they had already administered, are you ready? Over $12 million. And so our benefit will be able to supply help for the entertainment industry. And this is so important for anyone who's performed or worked in the entertainment industry who's facing hardship. I know I've used them at various times, but it's important to make sure that philanthropic, is part of your understanding as you move through your career. Always want to give back, and it's important that we do that. So here we are doing this big CATS benefit. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. And now I just need to say bye and thank you to Jonathan. Thank you.
Well, bye and thank you to Judith, and bye and thank to you, Tony Parisi, and bye and thank you to St. Louis, Missouri.
Thank you for joining us. Be sure and tune into the benefit. You can find the link on our website at FoxPACF.org. If you're a high schooler or you know someone that would like a scholarship that's in high school now, if you're a performer, be sure and register for free. Join us for the St. Louis Teen Talent Competition. Thank you for supporting the arts.